Amos 3, verse 7. Surely the Lord will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. First and foremost, I want to give our honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Ukakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. Shalom to the hopefully like men that scattered abroad, pushing his truth without sincerity throughout the folk under the earth. And also shalom to you very few sincere sisters that's taking heed and getting in order in these last days. Right, I'm the brother Amawan coming to the video low when it's edifying. Right, and going into pretty much a real, I think it's all gonna be good topics, but this is the just another lesson on blowing the trumpet, warning the people, right, what the MOTB is, and seeing that we're gradually getting closer and closer to that point. So here you have it, had just came through the pipeline, right? A couple of bros already did videos on it, but it comes to Vietnam shuts down millions of bank accounts, and I think it was like 86 million. It says over biometric rules, right? And this right here looks like more of a author that was pretty much putting his own input on it, and I thought it was very interesting, right? But it says what it means for financial freedom. Right, so first off foremost, right, we're seeing the gradualism, right, of it getting closer and closer to this NWO, the New World Order, and you have to have a RFID CHIP, to maneuver inside society, right? And we know these things that are happening outside of America is going to come to America eventually. Right, Lord just showing you how close we getting to it, But and it's heavy because this right here really lines up with the book of Revelation 13 and 16, right? Real heavy, because in the time period, right? Matter of fact, let me go straight to it. Cause soon come, right? You'll be X'd out of society if you don't have it. Because what we said, Esau Edom wants full control. He wants to know what you're doing with your funds. He wants to get rid of that actual dollar, right? He want to know you at all times, and that's all it is, just a form of control. He wants that full control over you, right? This is Revelation 13 in verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right? So as we let it be known, right, being killed can really come into a two-folded term. Right? You can be X'd out of society. Right? You will not be able to participate in society, like go to the grocery store, go to work, do the things that you do on a daily basis, right? Because you don't have that recommendation, right? The requirement, which would be that CHIP, so you be X'd out of society, and it's gonna get to a point where killed gonna be a physical thing, in a concentration camp. You don't want to comply, they're just gonna get rid of you, right? But we're looking at the time of right now of being just X'd out of society, right? That's the time we're coming into. So let me read some of this right quick, and I'll definitely leave a link just in case a brother may want to read all of it. It's more on here. I'm not trying to read all of it though. It says Vietnam's banking system just axed millions of accounts overnight, and that's what we always been teaching. You're gonna wake up to an account that has zero on it, or it's frozen. You can't get access to it. Right? We've been telling bros, starting with the apostles. There's gonna be a time period where you're gonna wake up to an account that you cannot have access to, and for you to get permission or for you to get into that account, you have to follow this guideline. Some people gonna be just straight fucked, and it won't have zero inside the account. Someone have the chance to actually gain it back, but they have to do it's a requirement. And it's going to cause hell to break loose, for folks to wake up and, they put all this time and blood, sweat, and tears and years inside their 401k. Excuse me. All right? Vietnam, Vietnam's banking system just acts millions of accounts overnight, all over biometric compliance failures. The move exposes the fragile nature of traditional finance when governments tighten control, and just like that, they can just take it away. Lock everything down. It says no warning, no access. Account holders woke up to frozen assets, no transactions, no withdrawals, just locked out interfaces and excuse me. I think it's bureaucratic silence. It said the state's push for biometric verification left zero room for delay or dissent. I think I had stopped down to right up in here somewhere. But yeah, there's two things I want to touch up on. This and another tab that I got open. It said digital sovereignty flex. It says centralized systems show their teeth again. While regulators preach security, they deliver control, cutting off access with a single policy shift. It's the kind of move that makes decentralized alternatives look less like speculation and more like necessity. I forgot where I was at. Yep. It says finance iron fist. It says banks comply, citizens adapt or struggle or switch. And see, and that's a key thing too, because they're going to make these banks cross over into a digital system, right? And pretty much for you to get your accounts unfrozen or get your funds back, you're going to have to have that requirement, man. Right? That's why I said, hey, citizens adapt. And best believe a lot of people will adapt to this new system because they believe and they need their funds. It says citizens adapt or struggle or switch. Maybe that's the point. Another reminder that when traditional finance talks innovation, it often means more surveillance, not more freedom. But hey, at least the system's secure, right? And that's the thing about it. He wants total control, right? We go into Revelation 13, verse 16 all the time, going to that word mark, right? Goes into mark in the Greek is charagma. The root word of charagma is karax, and the root word of karax is grapho, But just in mark the charagma itself, right? It goes. It's an actual device that goes up under the skin. Having that device up under the skin pretty much lets Esau know that you're fully committed to his new world order. Him fully having control over you, right? Come read this last little part, and I'm gonna go to the other one. It says biometric verification now required. See, and required. Let's get the quick definition for it. Right, it's essential. It's officially compulsory or otherwise considered essential, indispensable. Right, they will give you some ugly words to use for it. If I search I think we'll come up to another tab. It's cool, right? But it says as of banks across Vietnam are closing accounts deemed inactive or non-compliant with new biometric rules. Authorities estimate that more than enough users fail to update their identity verification. See? And it said it deemed inactive or non-compliant with new biometric rules, right? So that means they have to load up face recognition and things of that nature, right? The one that don't want to comply, they just simply turn it off. And this is how we know this right here is definitely evidence of the MOT. We're getting close to that MOTB because the way 86 million people, that's crazy. That's in Vietnam. Let that shit happen inside of America, man. That shit people gonna lose it. And that's why I believe through the Spirit that's why they're doing a lot of the things they're doing now, as in trying to gradually bring it in smoothly, because they know they just brought it in some I said they did like a couple of years back, and it wasn't showing a lot of things to get you hooked onto using it. And that shit would sprout out of control fast. You know, I don't think nobody would actually hop on the bandwagon, but now since they did so much, brought in more technology, you know, and Elon Musk with the the brain plants and the so-called miracles, people getting more hip, that they getting used to seeing it a lot more, so they're a little comfortable of taking it, so it won't be that much of a pushback. But let me go to the other. Yeah, here you go, right here. It says facial authentication is mandatory for online transfers above 10 million VND, right, which is about $379 of US money. Right. So the thing is, they have to have, they're pretty much trying to use that face scan, right? And that's also, that's a record. Your face scanning, the biometrics, all that stuff goes into the MOTB, man. Right? And I'm going to grab that inside Revelation 13 and 16, as I had just went into the quick breakdown of the word mark. So I did an AI overview on this thing, right? It says, so starting in September 2025, commercial banks in Vietnam began locking and deleting millions of bank accounts that did not comply with new biometric verification requirements. The move, mandated by the State Bank of Vietnam, is a measure to prevent fraud and cybercrime, right? And we all know that, this is a new world order, right? Hence the term, that what I'm saying, NWO, New World Order. So they all have to be on the same page to have this throughout the whole earth, man. Right? They keep saying prevent fraud. Right, so let's get that word from comply. Abide by, right? Let me just go search the web for it, because there'd be more words I can get from, right? So comply goes into what? Obey, conform to, agree to, consent to, follow, go along with, bow. See, a lot of people wasn't trying to consent to that. They wasn't trying to abide by that. So in return, they just cut it off. And that's how it's going to be real soon with this MOTB. You don't want to agree to it, consent, right? Like they say, you already got a person may have the chip and they don't want to consent to the next step or something. Well, they just going to cut the chip off. You got money inside that account? Well, all right, well, because at that time, money's going to be just a number. Well, it's easy for them to go in the system and just put your shit at zero. And it's a heavy one to submit to, right? If you don't want to submit to the biometric system, right, they're going to turn it off. That's what they did to 86 million folks. They tried to say, someone was inactive, which could be true, but I bet a lot of them was active and they wasn't trying to comply with the new update, so they got it turned off, where they got their accounts locked. Right, that's the thing about it. I hate. There you go. It says, they didn't comply with the new biometric verification requirements, and that's a heavy word too, right? Because requirements are it's a requirement, right? What's a requirement? A demand, right? A necessity, essential, right? A must. That's the thing about it, that it's a must. The movement, so like I already read that, right? So yeah, all right, so Slack, I'm gonna go ahead and go straight to the scriptures. But first, let me hit that Habakkuk right quick, 2 and 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, Wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Salaki. So it said, for the vision yet for an appointed time, right? And what's that vision? The MOTB, the RPDC hill. Right, and it says for an appointed, right, it's scheduled to roll out at a specific time, right? But it's going to gradually present itself, but then it's going to be made mandatory real soon, right? It'll be in full gear, real soon, right? So it says, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry, right? And we're seeing it not tarrying for real, right? So let's go to that Revelation 13. And I'm gonna read 16 in the I'm gonna read 16 in the NLT. Right, because as we seen inside Vietnam, right, soon come, you're gonna be in America, right? But just like I was in Vietnam, right, they wasn't trying to comply to the requirement, right? They got their bank account switched, frozen, right? So Revelation 13 and 16 in the NLT, it says he required everyone, right? And this is really coming from Esau Edom, because it's a new world order, right? And Esau runs this whole world, right? But it says he required everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be given a mark on the right hand or in the forehead or on the forehead, right? Which we know that'd be like a grain of rice, that small rice, or you got some of these chips that can go on the brain, implants, right? But the main thing I was getting out of this system, out of this scripture was he required, right? Because required is a requirement, right? See, I had went into it earlier. Slacking. Right, so required is what? Needed. Mandatory. Right? That's the thing. It's going to be mandatory. Without this, you would not be able to maneuver inside the society. Right? So it says, and no one could buy or sell anything without that mark, which was either the name of the beast or the number representing his name. Kind, that's heavy. But let's go into that mark in the KJV just to prove the point. With the biometrics and stuff like that, they don't want to comply to it. They don't want the face recognitions, So that'd be pretty much like the new requirement. So if they don't have it, it's easy for these elites or these whoever's controlling, right, to turn that card off. Which we know that soon later going to be that chip, right? This is the word for mark in the Greek. It is pronounced charagma, right? It says in the Strong's definition, as a badge of servitude, right? It says a scratch or etching, right? Because we know that charagma has to go up under the skin, but it says as a badge of servitude, right? And servitude meaning to what? Slavery, right? That goes to let you know you're fully in subject to someone that's more powerful than you, right? And like I had said earlier, the biometric pretty much it shows it's a record, right? Because when that scanning looks at you, it records your face, so they put it on record, right? So the root word for charagma is what? Charax, which would be an instrument used to go up under the skin to push out the charagma. It says in the root word to sharpen to a point. See, it's gonna be a real sharp device. It's gonna be sharpened to a point to go up under the skin. And the root word for Charax is grapho, right? And going down to 2b, commit to writing things not to be forgotten. Write down, record, right? And what it's going to record all the biometrics. It's going to record the data. It's going to record the fingerprints. You know, this is what we're coming down to, right? But we always go to that word gradualism. Gradually, you know, little by little, it's getting closer and closer to this system, right? But they have to bring it in smooth as possible, you know. So, hey, we have been warning you about this prophecy. It is coming to pass real soon, you know, and we're seeing it firsthand, you know. Tell you not to take it. If you tell you not to take it, you know why? We read the book of Revelation 14, verse 8 and 9, right? That's the punishment for taking it, right? But I'm going to close out. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I'm going to give our honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushua by Hashem Crocodile. Shalom.